to how to lower cholesterol drug-free. Sunday mornings at 10 on Talk 1470 WNN.
Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to save money, but how? By calling Debbie at I Will Advisors, that's how, and have her review your homeowner's policy. Most homeowners never review their policy, but it should be reviewed every year. You commercial property owners, same goes for you. So what are you waiting for? Call Debbie at I Will Advisors and start saving money. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
If you're tired of losing money when the stock market goes down, then feel you're not making enough when it goes back up, take an investment class at Online Trading Academy. For 2 decades, Online Trading Academy has taught over 200,000 students how to time the markets, how to pick the right stocks, how to limit risk, and how money is made in up, sideways, and down markets. All instructors are certified, currently trade, and profitable. They show you what they do every day with stocks, options, futures, forex, and now Bitcoin. So if you're tired of losing money when the market goes down, then feel you're not making enough when it finally goes back up, call now for a pair of tickets to a free sample half-day class in Broward or Palm Beach and see for yourself how educated investors make trades. Online Trading Academy, the leader in investment education. Call 954-668-2510. 954-668-2510. 954-668-2510.
Talk here. Talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
This is Tanoa Lynn Poirier, and I want to welcome you to Community Conversations on WNN 95.3 FM and 1470 AM. This show is about you. I want to hear your trials and triumphs, challenges and victories, and how you overcome obstacles every day in our dynamic industry. All callers are welcome to join Community Conversations. This is where we'll discuss all things in common. We'll discuss managers, directors, vendors, and owners. Let's elevate the conversation. Raise the bar. Start here, now. Good afternoon, and welcome to Community Conversations with Tanoa. I'm your host, Tanoa Lynn Poirier, and you are listening to WNN 95.3 FM and 1470 AM. You might also be listening on Facebook, and if you want to go on and see the show live on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Hello Tanoa. That's HELLOTANOA. Lower your expectations and head on over to Facebook and join us live. Thank you for spending a few moments with me. We'll be together for a half hour or so, maybe a little less. Want to remind you that last week's show, we talked to Decorum Interiors. And if you want to have a look at the tangerine wall, in quotes, that we discussed, head over to LinkedIn or find Decorum Interiors on Twitter, and you can see some examples of their work. They're real professionals. And if you are in the market for remodeling in the South Florida area, we do yourself a favor by giving them a call. So today's show, we're going to talk about change. And I can only talk from my experience and kind of things that are happening. A lot of the blogs on hellotanoa.com are things that I've experienced. And so when something kind of is going on and seems to be a trend in my life and the lives of my friends, I think it's probably something we should talk about. When I talk about change, which is inevitable, and sometimes it's a shock. I said on Twitter, I think in the last few weeks, well, it looks like my cheese is being moved again. And if that's a reference you're not familiar with, there was a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And forgive me, I forget the author's name. But the premise was there is a maze that a mouse or a rat was placed in, and the cheese was placed in the same area. And they found their way to the cheese, and it was kind of something that they got used to. Well, the cheese was moved, and they had to find another way to get the cheese. And that's just another way of saying, sometimes your cheese gets moved, and I think we're experiencing a few technical difficulties, but that's okay. You can probably still hear my voice if you're on the radio. And we just have to embrace that change, and it's okay. Some of my friends lost their jobs around Christmas time. That's always a very difficult thing to have happen, but they've bounced back. So when you're in the middle of the storm, it feels kind of difficult, but trust me, it will work out. You just have to hang in there. If you are in a place where you're between jobs, or you're considering a different career, or you're just in a community as a manager, the focus of this show is community managers, and it may be time to move on from the community you're in. Seek a transfer. It's okay. It's early in the year. You have time to make that change. If you're just feeling a little burnt out, it might be time to start planning a vacation. It's already March. Can you believe it? So if you haven't already got a plan in place to have some rest and relaxation, think about it, because no one is going to benefit by you working yourself into a burnout situation and then not taking your vacation or your personal time, because they can do it without you, and they're going to do it without you if you get yourself sick because you haven't taken the time, okay? So you were warned. What I want to do today is remind community managers why community management is a good career. Nobody I know who has gotten into the business says when they were a kid, yes, I'm going to be a community manager when I grow up. Nobody ever says that. But we find ourselves in situations where we fall into this industry. I think that's changing. In colleges, they're starting to offer this as a career. As I always mention to you, the statistics from the Community Association Institute, or CAI online, tells us that there are nearly 350,000 community associations all over the country. I also said that Australia and Dubai and Canada or other countries where community associations are becoming popular. And the reason community associations are popular is because you control the kind of neighborhood. There are some rules and restrictions relative to what kind of vehicles can be in the community, what colors you can paint, not having inoperable vehicles on the property. If you have a community pool, there are rules that regulate that. So it tends to keep the property values steady. It tends to be a much better experience for people living in those communities. And if you can get past the give and take of the restriction of rules and trade that for some stability and continuity and conformity, those people who are able to do that find themselves happy in community associations. And I think the statistic is kind of like the upper 80% of people who live in communities actually are happy about that. You run into some bumps when you have some people who don't want to conform, and those people are probably not the best candidates for living in associations. So as we think about, as managers, why it's a great career, and I said good, but I'm gonna elevate that to a great career. And I'm not a cubicle person. So if you're not a cubicle in the office kind of person, this is perfect for you. If you are in real estate and you are not comfortable with a commission only kind of income, this is a great way to stay in the industry. You can manage property as a real estate agent, but not community associations. Many times it requires a license, an additional license. And for those states that don't require an additional license, it's coming. So you can now use a real estate license in some places. That is going to change. So keep that in mind, that you'll have to get additional certification, but you can do this. So one of the reasons being a CAM is a great idea is because we're problem solvers. We start the day positively, most of us, because there's no other way you can do this job. So we start the day positively, and we have a plan for repairing the pool or fixing a water leak or getting the community painted or whatever your list entails. We problem solve. Somebody comes into the office while we have a list. We are diverted. Our attention is turned away from the thing we were doing, and we have to solve a personal problem or an immediate problem like blood, flood, or fire. Someone's had an accident. There is smoke somewhere. It can be an electrical situation or a fire alarm or smoke alarm set off by construction or water. Water is something that we have to attend to immediately, but we get to solve those problems. And at the end of the day, you look back and say, that was a good day. If you are a person who likes to solve problems and have some satisfaction at the end of the day that you did this, you solved those problems for homeowners in the communities you serve, this is a career for you. It's recession proof. By that I mean, no matter what is going on in the economy, community association managers are marketable because no matter what's going on, those associations have to be managed. The money has to be collected. The covenants have to be enforced. The grass has to be cut. The vendors have to be contracted. Board meetings have to happen. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. These things have to happen. So it's fairly recession proof. And so that is a terrific idea. If you are beginning your career, you don't have those ups and downs as you would in other professions like real estate, for example. Your skills are also transferable. And by that I mean, if you get a license in Florida or Georgia or Colorado, and you want to move across the country to Washington State, you can take your community association skills and work in communities all over the country. If you go on to CAI online, you will likely get to see what happens in other areas of the country, what kinds of things that you will encounter. If you're in Florida, your focus is going to be waterfront communities, dealing with lots of landscaping. It's a huge part of the community. You have to deal with weather-related issues like tornadoes and that sort of thing. If you move to Colorado, where they have community associations, guess what? You're going to deal with snow plows, salting. The landscaping is going to be very different, but those skills are still transferable because the core of what you do is taking care of the community, covenants enforcement, helping the board realize their goals by what they direct you to do. They're the directors. Remember, they give directions. You drive the bus, not the other way around. Or you could go to Washington State, or you could go to Canada and manage a condo in anywhere in the country. So this is a great career for people who want some security. It's recession proof, and want to be able to transfer their skills to another area. Maybe you're just thinking of relocating, or you've fallen in love with someone who lives in a different part of the country. This is something that you can take with you. And I said that because I happen to know somebody who has fallen in love and they're going to a different climate, but they get to do the same job. The pay is decent. Once you're experienced, you can really expect a six-figure salary. And it particularly in condominiums, large condominium communities where you are the general manager, you can make a very nice living. It is hard work. I don't want to discount that for anyone, but I want to remind managers who are in kind of a difficult space where they're just wondering whether or not this is the career for you. I want to remind you why you got into it and maybe why it's a good reason to stay in it. There's a lot of responsibility. And if you're like me and you like the weight of that responsibility, being the person who is the go-to person, the problem solver, you can be in charge of big projects, which I love. I love machines and swing stages for roofs and generators and big painting projects and projects where I have to manage the MOT, the method of transportation. And I put signs up and cones up and install porta potties and do all of these kind of construction related things. I absolutely love it. Now, I am in a happy position of being married to a general contractor for 25 years. So I have a better than average, I understand the concept of construction better than most, but I also get my hands dirty. I get in there, I have a hot pink hard hat and a hot pink set of harnesses so that I can get on swing stages, and I even have steel toe pink boots. That's just my color. But I get in there and I want to see what's under the hood. I want to see the pull pumps. I want to see what's going on in the machine rooms on the roof. And I want to have a conversation with the engineer when things are going on. So if that is something that really revs your engines, gets you going, it's something that you find interesting, I encourage you to get into community association management because it really is a non-cubicle kind of job. It requires you to get out of the office, to perform inspections, to talk to owners, to interact with board members and contractors and guests and vendors. And it's a way to deepen your knowledge, understand the world around you, solve problems, and ultimately what we're doing there is to serve people. So I hope that for you managers who are feeling a little bit burned out and like maybe you want to say goodbye, that I'm reminding you why you like this profession. This is the best one. The best thing about community associations for women, I think, is the older you are and the more experienced you are, the more valuable you are. What did I just say? Yes, I said that. That age and experience are a benefit in community associations. It is very difficult to be a younger person who has not owned a home and doesn't quite understand that relationship, and you lived in a home with your parents, but it's not quite the same. Once you've been kind of in the world for a while, you've owned a home, you understand how important someone's property is to them, you can kind of speak to them as a peer when you are managing the property, that you have experience in business. So you understand accounting principles and you understand sort of best business practices, and you can offer the board of directors the benefit of your experience along with your either newly acquired or long ago acquired knowledge. That is a benefit. You can age gracefully, as I always say. You're going to continue to be able to be an asset involved in the integral part of these communities. And so keep that in mind as you want to maybe have a second act in your career. If you've done something else and you maybe want a career change, there is no obstacle for somebody who is entering the market as their second act. In fact, I'd say all of those things you have experienced in another business will be beneficial to you as a community association manager. However, I want to tell you that it's not like anything else. So there will be a learning curve, but you can do it for many years. I'd say well into your 60s and 70s if you're interested. And that they want that level of experience. So don't let that scare you away. And, you know, the thing I always say is, for me, there's no higher calling than serving people. And so at the end of the day, when someone has a problem, it is my privilege to be able to serve them. I have a quote that I have on Twitter, and I always say that the homeowners are not the problem, they're the purpose. They are the purpose for us being there. If there were no homeowner associations or people to serve in those homes, we wouldn't be needed. So remember that they are not the problem, they're the purpose. So I hope I've outlined for you why you should stay in the business, why it's a good opportunity for people maybe as a second act or as a career choice. You can have a very long, well-paid career and you won't have to be in a cubicle. On the second part of the show after the break, I'm going to just talk to you about change and then why it might be a good idea this time if you want to do something different within the industry. And we'll talk about what those options are. I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes. See you on the other side. Imagine having one place you can call for all your residential needs, whether it's housekeeping, repairs, remodeling, pet sitting, laundry, or anything else your heart desires. La Concierge Services is your answer. Our qualified staff is carefully chosen, experienced, licensed, and insured. They are prompt, professional, and courteous. La Concierge Services is honored to serve in South Florida's most exclusive communities. With La Concierge Services, you have a full-service, personal concierge. We would love the opportunity to earn your business. Call 561-819-2059 for more information. La Concierge Services, your personal concierge. Hello, listeners. It's Tanoa Lynn from Community Conversations. Did you know I authored a book called 365 Tips for Community Association Managers, Property Managers, and Property Owners? Yep, I did. The book is filled with little, bite-sized morsels that may help anyone working and living in any community. From working with difficult people to building consensus for big projects. There is something in it for everyone. 365 Tips is available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can also go online to hellotanoa.com. That's hello, Tanoa.com. Welcome back. This is Tanoa Lynn Poirier with Community Conversations. And I want to remind you that this show is about you. If you'd like to join the show, you can call us at 888-565-1470. Let's get back to the show. For those of you listening on the radio, welcome back. There was a little graphic of something that said goals and me in cartoon form, which gave me a lovely laugh. So thank you for doing that, Freddie. My producer put that up. Thank you, Freddie. Welcome back. Before the break, we talked about reasons why community association management is a great industry to get into. And for those of you who may be in a period of change or struggle or thinking about whether or not this is the industry for you, I hope that I have reminded you why it's a great business. And maybe you just need a change of scenery. You know, maybe it's time to leave the community you're assigned to. Ask your manager or your management company if you can have a change of assignment. And just kind of, maybe you just need a new, a community to serve where everything is fresh and interesting again. Will be kind of a shot in the arm for your career. However, if you have decided that it's time to change, I know many of you that I talk to and I correspond with on social media, you have a side hustle and you're a little bit afraid about taking the jump from your side hustle to your and abandoning your job or quitting your job or maybe working part-time and working full-time on this business that you have. And I want to remind you of two things, maybe more, but I have an example, and for those of you listening on the radio, my hand is closed, my fist is closed. And I would just say that it's really difficult for God to bless a closed hand, right? That you're holding on so hard to this job because it's your security, but you have to open your hands in order to be blessed, right? So you have to open your hand to receive whatever it is you're dreaming about. And so I encourage you to not be scared, because the second thing I want to tell you is that God does not give you a dream that he doesn't equip you to do, right? That he does not give you the capacity to fulfill. And no matter what your faith is, I believe that these gifts are given to you and that you're largely born with them. For example, my husband can build anything. He is so mechanically inclined that he can just look at a set of plans and build a house. That is a gift. And he is doing what he was born to do as a builder. I have a girlfriend that we grew up with. She knew from the time we were little girls that she wanted to be a nurse. That is a gift. I cannot do blood and bodily fluids. And so nursing is not for me, but that dream wasn't for me. That God didn't give me that dream. He gave me the dream of being an entrepreneur, having the gift of administration and what is known as hospitality or serving people. And that dream is in my heart. And God doesn't give that to you without the capacity to fulfill it for each individual. So I just want you to remember that. Don't hold on so tightly that you can't be blessed because your fists are closed. Open your hands. And secondly, that if you have that dream, and it's the thing that keeps you up at night. You know, we had a guest here, James Vilson, and he is correct. You go to sleep thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. And right now it's your side hustle, but it's your passion. I want to encourage you to go for your passion. You got one life to live. Time is short. And that I want to encourage you to, if you think you're ready for that change, to go for it, right? Because you've been given that dream, but we have to work for it and we have to open ourselves to the opportunity. And I would say also that the only way that you're going to fail is if you don't try. And my staff, bless them, have to put up with me. I have lots of ideas all the time. I have lots of dreams, and many of them have come true. And it's always amazing to me how I have this dream, and I work toward it, and I have the grace from God to fulfill that thing that I'm thinking about in ways that are astounding. So don't sell yourself short. If you are now in this community association industry or another industry and you have something that is just pursuing you and keeps you up at night and wakes you up early in the morning and that you think about, read about, talk about all the time, that is the thing you should be doing. Now, here's the best deal. You're already doing this. You're already in a job that you don't necessarily love, but you're able to do that job. What's the worst that can happen? You end up back where you are. But what you'll have is regret if you don't do it, if it really is time for a change, or if you're not ready to make that next step. I want to encourage you to work toward fulfilling that dream. Even in this space of this radio station, I have dreams beyond being on radio, and that didn't come. That's not an accident that's in my heart. That is something that I am meant to do. So I would just say, if you're listening, and the first part of the show was, if you're feeling burned out, maybe it's time for just a change within the industry, reminding you of why community association management may be right, because you're not in a cubicle. It's recession-proof. Your skills are transferable. You can learn and grow in things that are outside your comfort zone in terms of construction and projects, et cetera. And if you're in a real estate position, you can continue to work in real estate, but you'll earn a steady salary as you work in the real estate industry in a different way. And it actually has decent pay, as I said. In large community associations, you can easily make six figures. You're going to work for it, I will tell you, but you will earn those six figures. And lastly, you're serving others. And so if those are your hot buttons, if that's what you feel like makes you happy and fulfilled, continue, ask for a transfer, change your scenery, and continue on your path in that career. However, as we said in the second half, if it's time for a change, an altogether change, you think you can do it better, you think you can manage property better, maybe it's time to start your own community association management company, maybe it's time to write about it, maybe it's time to teach other people how to do it. There are college courses now. They're going to need instructors. Check it out. See if that's something that you were meant to do. Whatever it is that's in your heart, that's calling out to you, don't wait. Start working toward that goal. Start silencing that nagging thing that's asking you to step out of your comfort zone. Open your hands and receive your blessing. It's always my pleasure to sit down and talk to you. And I can hardly believe that people actually want to sit and listen to me for the very short time we are together. I want to read you something, if I can get to it. It was a wonderful quote from a company called Sprout Concepts, and you can find them on Twitter, Sprout Concepts. And they said this to prepare us for the weekend. Sprout Concepts, we hope all of our friends and colleagues and future relationships we can't wait to begin have an incredibly epic Friday. Make it great. I can't top that. So I'm going to say thanks again. We have an exciting show next week. We're going to talk to one of the experts, Schiller and Associates. They're engineers and they're fabulous. You're going to enjoy it, I promise. I'll see you next time. Be a blessing to somebody. Happy Friday. Thanks a bunch. Bye. Listening to Community Conversations with Tanoa Lynn Poirier. It is my honor to host this program, and I appreciate you listening. We have an exciting show planned for you next week, so mark your calendars and join me every Friday at 5 p.m. on WNN 95.3 FM and 1470 AM. We look forward to hearing from you, our listeners. It's all about learning, sharing, and teaching. We're all in this together. Until next time, be a blessing to someone and endeavor to persevere.